He goes to Dillian Whyte. He went, "You want to fucking go? Let's go now." I was like, "Yeah." No, he was saying, "Tell him, Jermaine. Tell him you're going to knock him out." And Dillian went, "You fucking shut your mouth." And he went, "Yeah, you want to go now?"
Well, you're very welcome to the Lightweight Boxing Show. We are in the city of London. We are in a very special place, actually. It's the Royal Institute of British Architects. It's the library. It's a very grand affair.
Beautiful
here,
venue. Beautiful.
We
venue.
like the odd venues that we get to.
We do. We like to be spoilt sometimes, and it's good to be here.
Well, coming up on this show, we're going to have an in-depth interview with Eddie Hearn. We're also going to be chatting with the main man, I suppose, Dillian Whyte, who's back in action after that Fury knockout. He's in business this weekend against Jermaine Franklin. Bit unknown, really, the American, but there's been a bit of needle, so watch this space. We can bring that to you. We're going to hear as well, there's a fantastic undercard fight, Fabio Wardley in against Nathan Gorman. So we're going to give you all the latest on that, have a chat with Fabio and all the rest of it. Buddy McGirt is going to feature as well, Anthony, so it's all going on. Sandy Ryan, we've got all the big names Sandy as we always do. But before we get to that, just a very quick word about the weekend that we've just had, because we did touch upon last week the Kirsty Bavington European title fight, and she got the business done. It was a bit of a grueler against Naomi Maines, but she did the business.
And fair play to Babo. She's just an hard night's work for anyone, I'm telling you. She just doesn't stop coming, and I made up for her. She lives it, and I hope she gets the big fight that she deserves.
And it is a really vibrant women's scene in and around that division, around the welterweights and all the rest of it, because there's so much going on. We're going to hear more about that. So, as we are here, it's been the press conference for the main event. We catch up with the great and the good. Here it is.
So I'm here with Sandy Ryan, goes in action Saturday night. Can you tell us a little bit about your opponent?
Sanchez, she's very adorable fighter, very experienced. Two-time world champion, gone the distance with Chantal Cameron, Jessica McCaskill, Katie Taylor, so you just need to say them names and you know that she's a top fighter, no walkover, but yeah.
Sandy, the way Eddie's speaking about you at the top table, I know the way your management team, STN, are speaking about you're not far off those names that you just mentioned there. Do you see this as a real statement to put in performance against Sanchez on Saturday? And if the stoppage comes, fantastic, but just to beat her and beat her well?
Yeah, 100%. I want a good performance. And it's nice that there's things that they're saying about me now. I think because they're starting to see it, especially after my last performance.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Sandy, I think in everyone's opinion, it was a career best performance last time out. I say all the time, the women's game is flying, but especially around your weight or weight above or two. You'd be happily go up a weight to fight for a world title?
Yeah, there's no problem about that. You've seen it in the women's divisions anyway, they fluctuate, and 140, 147, it's a light work for me. Easy, it'll be easy.
You can easily eat your way up to 147.
Easy.
Sandy, okay, finally. Good win on Saturday night. New time of the dream fight for early 2023.
Any title fight.
Any title fight. Any world title fight. Any weight?
Yeah, 140,
preferably
147.
140, but 147.
Yeah, we want to do this weight first and then move up. Really.
Welterweight world champion.
Yeah, I don't want to be going up then down. I want to be stay consistent at this weight.
Yeah.
Do what I got to do at this weight and then go up.
Well, Fabio, good to see you. Now, just firstly, before we get to your fight, which many would say is probably the fight of the night, it's certainly the one that's got a lot of interest on it, but I think your manager's been involved with a little bit of fun and games there. What's going on there?
Yeah, a little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of pushing and pulling, but it's all good. Helps sell the fight a bit, and it means there's a little bit of bite there. And it's good to be honest, for me, it's good to see from him. You haven't seen that little bit of nastiness from him for a while, and it's something I've been saying to other people and people that have been around. That there's a little bit of that old Dillian Whyte is back in there, that nasty one that really, I know he says maximum violence and that, but really wants to do some damage to you. So I'm happy to see it.
Fab, Dom mentioned it then. Like, a lot of people see yours and Nathan's fight as the pick-em of the night for sure. A lot of people keep alluding to Nathan's amateur experience and you coming through the unlicensed scene, but do you believe, I know you mentioned the sparring, or Eddie did, as a professional, but Do you reckon on your resume as a pro, you've got the better names?
I would say so, yeah. I would say so. I've come through and beat the better names, definitely. I've beat Eric Molina, I've beat Nick Webb, I've beat Simon Vallily, another good amateur as well. So I know people like to talk about the experience gap and this and that, but I've always come up against that. That's nothing new to me as someone having more experience than me, but it's no problem. It's not going to stop me landing that right hand on you. You can have all the experience you want. That's not going to stop my fist hitting you in the face.
He is a talent, Nathan. I mean, again, people that have been in with him, that know him from GB and know him from when he was with Ricky, but obviously he's with Nathan Clark now. Again, he's got fast hands, he's deceiving. You can never judge a book by its cover either. You know all of that. Is there a lot of pressure on you now with all that taken into account, the fact that you are the favourite as well?
I don't think so, no, because he's the one that has all the accolades. I don't have anything. I haven't got a white collar belt I can bring along for you and wave around. Like, he's the one that was on the GB squad, that comes from the heritage of a traveller family background, that's been boxing since he was a baby. Like, that's all pressure for you. For me, I'm just little old Fabio Wardley, white collar fighter that somehow managed to wing himself on a show this big. So for me, I'm just going into this happy, healthy, ready to get stuck into a tear-up.
Fab, for me, I loved it up there when you said, you know, I've come from a white collar scene, so it's a blessing to be here. You worked hard for it, but I feel like you understand the importance. You're fighting for the British heavyweight title on Saturday night. What would that mean for you to take it back home?
It means so much. It means so much because it's almost a touch of validation, but not for me, for my family, my friends, my team, the people around me, that Dillian Whyte as well, that have seen me earlier on and gone, there's something in you. You can do something here. There's something serious there, and I'm able to repay that by going, hey, look at this, I won the belt. For me, yeah, of course, it's a nice shiny belt to shake around and whatever, but I can hand it to Dillian and go, thank you, like, that's for you, and to my mum and to my family and stuff. That's the main motivator for me, is to kick on and give back to all those people that have come and supported me and watched me over the years, and kind of really give them something to shout home about.
Be a big deal for Ipswich as well, wouldn't it? Let's face it, isn't the hotbed, is it? So
no, not at all.
And
it's a, like, Ipswich is quite a small, quiet area. Like, there's not much going on. Our football team at the moment is doing pretty well, but aside from that, we're quite a quiet area, and it's not, like you say, it's not known for its boxing at all, and that's something I carry on my shoulders as well. There's been a lot more influence of boxing. There's a lot more people wanting to do boxing since I've started. I'd like to think I have a little something to do with that, and that's something I want to carry forward a lot more.
Fabio, finally from me, Saturday night you're victorious, become British champion. Do you leave it to your management team, or do you want to get that belt for keeps, that Lonsdale belt for keeps, before moving on to the world stage?
I'll have a look. I think I'll have a look. We'll analyse the landscape. It's difficult to say, because there are some good up-and-coming heavyweights. Are they in positions where they're ready for British title? Maybe not. I think a few of them that are good and coming through are maybe 2 or 3 steps behind. So I'm not looking to wait. I'm looking to have a busy year next year, and if I have to move international, go Commonwealth, European, I want to be headlining my own shows. It was quite nice sitting up there next to Ed, being the one next to him, so I want to keep that going. So that's what I want to do next year. So wherever the big fights are, that's no problem for me.
Well, buddy, good to see you. Last time we had a chat, we were in Liverpool. You were with Callum Smith. So your UK tour continues. We're in London now. So obviously now with the big man, with Dillian Whyte. So how's everything going?
Everything's great, man. You know, I can't complain. Just waiting for Saturday night.
I was saying, buddy, I saw some of the pad work you learned, you know, it was online. Dillian, you train a lot of good left hookers. Is Dillian right up there with them?
Oh, without a doubt. But he's got thunder in both hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when he whips that hook, he whips it.
Is a real busy time for you, buddy, lately? I think Janabek was on recently, wasn't there? I know before that he was over in Abu Dhabi with Callum. Dillian on Saturday. Is this you till the end of the year now, or are you out again before Christmas?
I believe December 17th, Dan Aziz.
Oh, of course, yeah. The box show in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So the UK tour continues.
And how is it working with the likes of Dillian? We just saw that, you know, he can be fiery. He's got the loss that he's had to deal with as well to Tyson Fury. But do you feel that he's got a little bit of fire there, as we saw with that little flare-up after the press conference?
I don't judge anybody. You know what I mean? I've never seen Dillian fight, if you want to know the truth. You know what I mean? And in training camp, we didn't even talk about the Tyson Fury fight, not once. Never came up. You know what I mean? That's the past, and I believe when it's in the past, you leave it there. If not, it'll catch up with you. So don't look back, as they would say. So, training camp has been good. He's had very good sparring, and I have no complaints. You know, if I would have seen anything in training camp that didn't look right, I wouldn't be standing here right now.
I just want to bring Anthony in on this because your methods are quite, I suppose, unique in a way. You don't look at the fight, you don't know anything about Franklin, you've not watched any of Dillian. It's a unique way to train fighters. Is that fair to say, Anne? Would you say that?
No,
as well?
I was saying, buddy. So, as a young coach now, would you just focus on your fighters' strengths and obviously working on their weaknesses in general?
I'll let the other guy worry about what we're going to do. I'm not going to sit back and study this guy. I got better things to do with my time.
So what's the plan then with Dillian if he comes through? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Anthony Joshua. Is that something that you'd be very happy about?
Well, I never like to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
So we can do this interview Sunday. And they asked me the same question on Sunday.
Right, we'll find a few more towns in the meantime where we can take it around the UK. Good man,
Sounds
thanks,
good.
buddy.
Thank you very
nice
much.
One.
Well, the main man here, Dillian Whyte, and we've got to start first. There's a little bit of a flare-up at the end of the press conference. We've seen these things before, Dillian. You're not shy in that department, but what was going on there?
Nothing. There's a little bit of a push and a shove and a bit of a pull and a tug. You know, that's it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Dillian, we've just been speaking to Buddha, one of the most chilled out guys in boxing.
Yeah.
And he's talking about your work with him. He's seen a lot of things he really likes. How are you finding the changeover with Buddy yourself?
It was easy because Buddy he's a very calm guy, and like you said on the stage, I asked him A, B, and C if he can explain it to me.
Yeah.
We work on it, we improve it, and we add it into what I'm doing. And that's not like, a lot of trainers got like ego. They're like, move your feet more, do this more, do that more.
Yeah.
Buddy just say, yo, we're going to do this, but we need to get to here, and this is what we need to do to get there. I know we're gonna get there, and it's great because he explains stuff and he teaches you stuff, not just say move your head. He's like, you know, he explained to you, he's like, when you're moving your head, make sure
Why
you're doing
and
this.
how.
Yeah, and then some coaches, if you ask them questions, they get defensive.
Yeah.
Just trust me, don't work. You know, he will sit down and he'll ask you in the session, you want to ask me anything? And I'm like, no, I'm good. We're on the same page, brother. So, easy transition.
Yeah.
When you started working with him, were you in any way bothered by the fact that he doesn't want to look at the opponent? He doesn't even want to look at your fights. I mean, it's not normal, that, I suppose, is it?
No, it is, because when a man's had 80 fights, 100 plus amateur fights, fought the best, 2 times world champion, trained 9 world champions, and not just from top level, from start to scratch and stuff. He knows this stuff, you know, and he, like he says, sometimes you get caught up in, I've been there before, I caught up in the hype of, you're fighting this guy, he's a good boxer, he's this, he's tall, he's short, and then you end up worrying too much and working on too much things. It's like the Fury fight was difficult because it could be southpaw, it could be orthodox, it could be aggressive, it could be negative. So sometimes you get caught up in what you need to focus on yourself and what you do best and try to be better at that. So I'm on the same page with him on that, you know. Betfred is madness.
Yeah, Dillian, I know Eddie mentioned it on the top table there. You've fought on the biggest of nights. You've had an amazing career. The one thing that's missing is that world title. Is that what keeps the fire burning for that world title now?
You know what? It ain't. You know what? The fire keeps burning because combat sport is what gave me the balls.
You like to fight?
Yeah, it's what gave me the balls to change my life. It's what gave me the balls to put the weapon down, to put this down and change my life and be a bigger, better man. So to me, it's a part of my... It started to come from the pointless violence and the upbringing and stuff and whatever. It gave me a meaning. So to me, it's something very important, man.
I mean, we could see what it meant to you after the Fury fight because you were devastated after that, weren't you? Very upset, and that was for those that saw you afterwards, outside the arena. You were upset about that. So, how long did it take you to really get that out of your system?
You know what? Took a couple of days for me to realize I'm so young. I had a lot of fights. I still have time to correct the mistakes and get back in there and still stand a very high chance of becoming heavyweight champion. You know, let's be honest, obviously, Fury is a tricky one. Obviously, it's going to be a difficult fight because he's just so big. He's not, people say he's fast, he's a great boxer, he's awkward. He's not, he's just a big guy.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I got caught with a punch and he just literally pushed me over like that, and I'm a strong guy, but because I'm a big guy, so, you know what I mean, I'm not someone that gets pushed around easy, you know what I mean, but I had my moments in the fight. You know, so yeah.
Dillian, just away from you, 1 second. On Saturday night, am I right in saying you could have your first British champion as well?
I will have my first British champion. I will do. You know,
that mean a lot to you, that, as a manager on that side of things?
It means a lot to me to see. When Fabio came to me, he came to help me spar. He was a guy.
Yeah.
He had 2 fights in 3 years or something, going nowhere, doing nothing. And he just came to spar. At that time, I was thinking, I might start helping a few guys out. And then when I sat down, he told me a story, and I realized I see what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? There's a lot of myself in this guy. I'm going to help him. And then even he himself probably can't believe where he is now. You understand? So to me, I've done a lot of wrong things in my life and a lot of bad things. So something like this to me helps soothe that place in my heart. You know what I mean? You know,
fair play.
You know, I've done some good. Same like Babik, same like Chris Congo, same like Yusuf Kamari, all these guys that help artists. You know what I mean? Thomas Coffey and stuff like that. He was another one. He had like 1 fight in 2 years since he turned pro.
No, fair play, Dillian, yeah.
If you have a good night, Fabio has a good night, it's a great night for you. Inevitably, it's not going away. It's 1-1 in the amateurs and the pros. Anthony Joshua, it's been the talk for a while anyway. How much would you enjoy that?
This is heavyweight boxing, baby. Don't look to the future. Look to the present moment, because I might beat Frank and beat another guy and still don't get a Joshua fight. That's why heavyweight boxing works. You gotta understand that. So I'm focused on Franklin. I would love to fight Joshua another 2-3 times. I think if me and him fight, it's just gonna be a wild fight. Win, lose, or draw, it's gonna be wild. Be everything in the fight. It just be a wild fight. That's just how our character is. That's how our energy is, you know?
Going up to Saturday's card, for me, sort of early on in the card, I'm sure it'll be, but I know how well you spoke of him up there, and you must have made up to sign him. Pat McCormack, how fast are you going to move him?
I feel like, you know, since a lot of you boys have retired, and you're in the same bracket, Crolla, like Frotch and Groves and DeGale and Bellew, and you, like, I feel like there isn't really the conveyor belt coming through in terms of fighters that have the ability to win world titles and sell out stadiums in their own city. You know that Pat McCormack, one, has the ability to do it, and two, Newcastle will go nuts for him, right? And he's a character. He's got to be kept on a leash, and you do that by giving him the opportunities, you do that by giving him the activity, and Ben Davison doing the right job for him. This kid has everything. Like, he is an outstanding talent, and we're very lucky to get him. He's got a real fight on Saturday, but I think he's going to move quickly. I see this kid fighting for a British title within 4 or 5 fights, something like that, and you know, he's a very, very good fighter that I see selling out the Newcastle arena next year, you know, and going on to fight for world titles.
Yeah.
You know, when you are looking at fighters and you want to get involved in fighters, you mentioned that you were worried, you thought you might have missed out on him originally. How important is the geography of a fighter? Because you mentioned Newcastle, we know how big it could be. Lewis Ritson kind of, you know, was doing great numbers for a while, wasn't he? And is that something that's always in your head? Yeah,
it is, because obviously that's where you're going to be able to make the most money, create the best atmospheres, pay the fighter as much money. But Rome isn't built in a day. Fighters like Josh Warrington used to sell 200 or 300 tickets, and all of a sudden we took him to Leeds Arena. I think it was on a Wednesday night.
It was a Wednesday
and we sold
night,
like
there,
3,000 tickets, and I thought, wow. And I was listening to him, and I thought, you know, and the same. You know, when Anthony started, he would always do 300, 400, 500. Do you remember when we boxed at Oldham?
Yes.
In weren't really the leisure centre, but you know, it was really.
Yes.
But you fought Gavin Rees that night.
No,
the Bolton. On Bolton,
yeah.
And you sold, I don't know, 700 or 800 tickets, and I thought, like Crolla can sell, And then, but all of a sudden, he becomes a bit of a name. People know him. He's down Man United. Next thing, we're doing 10,000 at the MEN. You know, 12,000 for Linares and so forth. So it takes time. If you come from a city that is educated enough in terms of its sporting knowledge to know that if you've got a fighter that you like and has ability and can be in good fights, they naturally come out and support you. Newcastle is right up there.
So much talent.
Liverpool, Manchester, same. I mean, Mark Dickinson's a guy. You know, we've got Callum French. You've got Cyrus Patterson.
You
know, Lewis Ritson was selling out that arena for British title fights. 9,000. Remember? I mean, it was unbelievable. For the Highland fight and Robbie Davis Jr. You know, so I feel like we need that again because we're missing that a little bit in British boxing, and Pat could definitely be the guy to do it.
Which leads us beautifully to Ipswich versus Nantwich. Because these are two great lads, don't get me
Brilliant
wrong,
fight.
but not from hotbeds, but we
Yeah.
know about the the pedigree of Gorman and Fabio. We know about his story, which is brilliant that he's in this situation for a British title. I mean, that's, you've got to say, you look at the card and that's the one that's jumping out.
It's a great fight, and these are the fights that we should be making more often. You know, British heavyweight fights, very important. I can't believe Gorman's 3-1 in this fight as an outsider. I think it's a 50-50 fight. The reason it's a 50-50 fight is we just don't know about Fabio at that level, and I really rate Gorman. You don't find a lot of fighters from white collar backgrounds who turn pro at 18 or 19 become like major champions.
Yes.
You just don't, do you? Like,
No.
so that's my
it's the
worry.
prestige of British heavyweight title,
exactly.
that's what
But
it
that's
be.
my worry with Fabio is. Does the experience of Nathan Gorman, does the feet, does the things that come natural to him, are they too much for Fabio? But at the same time, Fabio's full of confidence, he's sharp, he can really punch. And that's why I see this as a complete 50-50 fight, but brilliant matchup.
We've got Sandy Ryan on the card as well. How far, I know you spoke well of her up there, how far do you see her off challenging for world
I think
titles?
the problem is, once you beat Farias and you beat Sanchez, there's nowhere
You're
else to
almost
go.
there, aren't
There's
you?
still, I mean, Chantel Cameron's a big jump up in class.
Yes.
But I don't know what else you do. I mean, I could only give her one more before she fights one of those. Is it moving to 147 to fight McCaskill? Is it fighting Chantel Cameron? Does a belt fragment? I don't know. But what I'm so pleased about is, and young fighters should take note about this, she lost in her fourth fight. She really was in a rematch that was kind of career-defining. Now she looks like a different fighter. Like, if you'd have said to me, 5 fights, Sandy Ryan's ready to fight for a world title. She has the composure now and the experience, I think, to be ready to fight for a world title. She just looked like an amateur that was sort of a little bit out of condition before. Now she's like on it. You know, she's physically looks so much different, the way she walks, and that kind of experience is priceless as a fighter.
The loss has been a blessing.
It has been. It's really, it could have changed her career. I think without the loss, she may have got to 10-0, made the same mistakes, and then just drifted out. You know, she's got hold of herself early, and she's right in the mix of women's boxing.
With the women as well, stick with that because there's a lot going on and in and around her division as well, because McCaskill's a name that you mentioned there. I know Terry Harper and Steffi Bull have been looking at that one. I know Natasha Jonas, obviously Anthony sees Natasha quite a lot. Again, there's been lots of backwards and forwards, if you like, in terms of Natasha, Terry and everything. I mean, how do you wrap up that whole situation?
I think that beef, if you like, between camps is part and parcel of a big fight. Like, there's been no better beef than the beef between Carl Frampton and Scott Quigg. You remember that well, with Joe and Shane, like, and me and Barry, and like we hated each other. But we also got together to give them a payday and a really important fight for the division. When Natasha Jonas lost to Terry Harper in my backyard in a very close fight,
it could have gone.
It was a sorry.
I had to get.
So what? I can't believe I said that. I've been telling myself too many stories. So in the draw in my back garden. Very close fight. Everyone thought they won the fight, right? She wanted a rematch. Now, Terry Harper, Steffi Bull had a mandatory. They wanted to unify. They also knew that it was a tough fight, right? Naturally, and decided to go another way. I then got Natasha Jonas, the Katie Taylor fight, instead. Not a bad backup. She did great in that fight. That was a close fight. Katie won the fight. And then Natasha's gone and done brilliantly well, right? Terry Harper, weirdly, they're both weirdly won world titles at 154. But now we're in the situation where you could make an undisputed fight between one girl that sells out Sheffield Arena, one girl that sells out the Echo Arena, formerly Echo Arena, and both could become undisputed, both could make a fortune, right? This man here, I always agree with him. But I didn't agree with his interview where it's like, nah, too much has happened. Like, we've got to be bigger than that.
Do you? No, I agree. We have got to be bigger than that. But do you really think?
Why not? Like, but
no, I know what you're saying. I'd love to see it.
But haven't we got to be sensible, right? And go, hang on.
No.
Steffi, like Natasha, you don't like Eddie. Joe, you don't like Steffi. Do you really care? Like, at the end of the day, we'll do it on Sky. We'll do it on DAZN. I do.
That's it. You've not got the problem
I could
either way.
not care less where we do this fight. I've got one person on my mind. Terry Harper. I want to make her as much money as possible, and I believe she can beat Natasha Jonas to become undisputed. Joe Gallagher, as manager, should be saying, I don't care where this fight takes place, I want Natasha to make as much money as possible and become undisputed.
So you've not got no problem with Terry going over there?
No problem at all. We haven't even heard back from him. I mean, they could come back, make us a counter offer. Crolla, I don't care, mate. I just want Terry to get this fight, this payday, and I want to
Yeah.
make this fight. The first one was brilliant. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
So, but I don't get that. No. That's Joe. That's Joe all over, right? I haven't spoke to Joe for years, but I've worked with him for many years. He's the most stubborn individual. He cares about his fighters massively. He has got a good heart, but sometimes that like love for his fighters can overcome what we should be doing. I don't care what Joe Gallagher and Natasha Jonas think about me or Steffi Bull. Who cares? That shouldn't matter at all. What should matter is we make the fight. Sky should be coming back to us. Boxer come back and go, look, we want this much, or here's our offer, or whatever. Why chase McCaskill, like when you've got the rematch between two Brits of a fight of the year in a fight that sells out a stadium, an arena. So, but I get the beef, but we've been there before. I mean, no, but that would be like. By the way, there was a similar situation once. On a similar level, when Anthony Crolla was going to fight John Murray, right? And I said, and Joe's got obviously his history, and he was fond of the Murray family and stuff like that. And it was like, no, we're not doing that fight. It's two kids from Manchester, blah, blah, blah. And I had to come to the gym, and I sat down with him, and even Ant was like, and Ant would do what Joe says, basically, right? Because they've got that respect. And I was like, guys, I promise you, this is the right fight. It's two kids from Manchester. One supports United, one supports City. Forget anything else. Let's make this fight. And that was the fight.
Yeah, the coming out fight in a way.
But that was the fight that took us to Perez and Barroso and Linares and those kind of fights. So, look, boxing's boxing, but sometimes we just got to sit back and go, it's only a pantomime anyway. I mean, never lost any sleep over Joe. Natasha seems like a lovely woman. Like, just make your money and become undisputed. So, fingers crossed.
Well, great to hear from everyone at the Matchroom card, of course. Dillian Whyte in against Jermaine Franklin. Nice bit of afters. Good to hear from Eddie, and some very good points made by all, I think, Anthony.
Yep, it was. It was fantastic. Busy times for us, and then over here at the Ali Palais to the boxer press conference. But no, listen, it's a fantastic weekend of boxing. When you look, you've got the Matchroom card that we just mentioned. Dillian Whyte topping the British heavyweight title fight. What a fantastic fight that is. Then we're here at the Palais, Sunday afternoon. Lerone Richards returning, one of the rising stars of not just British boxing, but one of the hottest prospects in world boxing, in Adam Azim against Ryan Charlton. There's so many fights got mentioned there, what I've missed on both bills. And then let's not forget, one of the very best fights of the weekend over at the O2 is Zach Parker versus John Ryder for the WBO interim world title.
Yeah, you mentioned where we are. It's an incredible setting here at the Alexandra Palace, isn't it? I mean, I know lots of people think of it as the darts, but...
It's the last time I was here, so stand up if you love the darts.
Yeah, and you get a great view of London. We got that amazing view when you come in here. You see absolutely everything through it. So it's a spectacular setting. One thing you forget is how big this place is. It's vast.
It is huge, and obviously we just had a little tour through the rooms, and then you're remembering where the darts was. And it's going to be a great event here. On the Sunday, there's a lot going on, something a little bit different, so interaction for the fans with boxers and stuff like that. So no, it's going to be good.
Well, let's get into it, because of course it is a Sunday afternoon show, and there is some really good emerging talent. You've touched on the likes of Adam Azim, Lerone Richards as well, and again, right through the card, really interesting matchups. So we caught up with all the main players of this card.
So I'm here with one of the hottest prospects in British boxing, in world boxing, in Adam Azim. He takes on Ryan Charlton on Sunday afternoon, topping the bill. Yeah. How are we feeling, mate?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Do you know what? When you said the world's prospect, I've got a world champion here. So it's a privilege to stand here. Yeah, it's a privilege to stand here with you. Yeah, it's going great. I feel confident. I'm feeling strong, feeling fit, and just can't wait to get in that ring and just showcase my skill.
Adam, with sort of Ryan Charlton, what you see is what you get. What are you expecting on Sunday from him? Anything different, or?
Do you know what? Whatever way he comes, if he wants him to go back, I'm ready to go front for it. If he wants to come forward, I'm ready to go back for it. I'm going to be, just stay in that centre, just pressing him, Yeah.
And you've got an unbelievable team behind you, from the promotional team and the Shane McGuigan and Jim, which are absolutely flying. How highly Shane speaks of you. You're not overlooking Rylan in any means, but. You come through this on Sunday. what kind of level do you want to be stepping up in the next 12 months? How far do we want to move on to in the next 12 months?
Do you know, I definitely want to be grabbing titles, next year, going for the Commonwealth, like the WBA Intercontinental, the domestic titles, because obviously, I've already had, this has been my 7th fight coming in. And I want to be grabbing these titles.
A lot's happened in those 7 fights.
Yeah, that's it. A lot has happened in the 7th fight. Now, I've got the opportunity, to headline, and I've just signed my new contract with Sky Sports and Boxer. It's an honour to actually, be here and be in the main event.
Just away from Jushu on Sunday.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be boxing alongside Hassan? You and your brother on the same bill. It must mean an awful lot that to you.
Yeah. Do you know, it's tremendous because Hassan, we've got that brother you love. Hassan, he's a great fighter. Obviously Hassan wants to go in a smaller step by step.
I was going to say it because
Yeah.
I know how good he is.
Yep.
But do you feel there's more pressure on you as a brother because they're moving you a little bit faster?
Do you know what? I'm not pressured at all.
Yeah.
Well,
you enjoy that.
I enjoy it. I like doing my stuff in the ring. My business is to do in the ring. All this stuff comes with it. All this media and that, it's great. But when I'm in that ring, I'm in my zone. That's where I put my angry mode on and just get in that ring and fight.
And there's the celebration backflip. However, on Sunday, have you got a new dance move for us Sunday?
Do you know there's always a different celebration show after the fight? But I'm definitely, I want to get that knockout victory.
Adam, it's a pleasure to speak to you. All
Thank you.
Well, Big David Jameson is joining us here at the Alexandra Palace, and nice surroundings, David, yeah?
Oh, listen, what a change. It's a stunning venue to be boxing in. I can't wait.
We've been some cold ones up north, haven't we?
Just
north of the
a
border
little bit.
And Tottenham as well, last time we saw you.
Tottenham was last time we saw you, weren't we? Out in action, that was over a year ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Do you know, I think it actually popped up in my memories. It was just over a year ago.
Yeah, some night as well. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, David, this opportunity come about, Dion Juma, the fight fell through, Michaela Wilde, like someone had to step in to rescue this British cruiserweight title fight. In steps David Jameson. How long did it take you, once offered, to consider and take the opportunity?
The thing was, I wasn't even offered it. It was like I offered Ben and crew.
Yeah.
It was myself that spied it, and I get the jump right on it. I get in touch with my manager right away, and I said, look, listen, put the feelers out here. I've been in the gym, I'm ready to go, living the life. Let's get this on. I was actually, believe it or not, the story is I was moving into my new house. So I literally was going into the solicitors to sign the missives for my house. Went into the solicitors with the good lady, and I came back out and I had a text on my phone from my manager saying Sky Sports love it. They're putting it to the British Boxing Board of Control for the title. So it was myself that got the jump on it. It was nobody was offering it to me. It was me that was offering my services.
Was that because you see something in Michael that you think, no, I fancy that fight, or was it just the opportunity for the British cruiserweight title?
No, I think it's a bit of both,
yeah.
But I think it comes down to it's been no secret. I've said it in a lot of my different interviews and things over the last few years. The Michaela Wilde fight's the one I want.
Yeah,
okay, it's the avenge the loss. There's no bad blood there. We're all professionals. But I think everybody saw that and that was 10 days' notice last time.
Yeah.
The big man was born a gasket, and I had a lot of weight to lose.
Yeah.
I'm a different animal now. I'm living the life, not mega weight to lose.
Yeah.
12 rounds for the British title. I think this could be a totally different kettle of fish.
I bet Kayla's delighted she married you, because how many fights when the honeymoon didn't happen because you were fighting and that had to get put off, and then you're buying a house and then you jump on this one. I mean,
this isn't what you signed up for, is it?
What's going on? What's going on?
Trying to save some money here, though. I'm trying to put everything off, man. Come on, I've got another fight coming up. It's just one of those things. We'll get a nice big honeymoon when this one's over, babe.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you what, we were talking to Mikel before about the fact that you had, obviously, that you took it no notice again. We were thinking it was Christmas because we were in an ice rink and we were all freezing.
It was actually in the middle of summer, wasn't it?
It was summer, but it was cold.
It was freezing.
It was Manchester.
The ice rink,
arena, and it lived up to his name. It was freezing cold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously, proud Scotsman. What would it mean to you, Sunday, to take that British title home? What would it mean to take it back home?
You know yourself, Anthony, how coveted the British title is.
Beautiful belt.
Not just a beautiful belt, but it's,
prestige.
Prestige, the history. you can go down the intercontinental titles route, even different world titles.
Yeah.
I get into boxing at 15, the world title thing. Who knows what can come off the back of this? But this has always been the boyhood dream, to lift a Lonsdale belt, that history, everything. Look at the cruiserweight division in Britain. I mean, I hate that. Oh, it's stacked, but it is stacked. And to be sitting there, the cream of the crop of all of that, I mean, it would mean the world to me. This on Sunday night, I'm not a big football fan. Obviously, it's World Cup fever at the moment, but this on Sunday night will be my World Cup final. This will be my World Cup final.
Well, Aaron, you're back in action, and I'm sure you would have rather had a few more fights since we last saw you out in action, which is about a year ago nearly, isn't it? So you're in the ring with Zach there, giving it a little bit. It was quite an interesting chat. I mean, what do you read from that?
I don't really read much from it. I'm very relaxed. I've got a very relaxed demeanour, and I can't wait for Sunday. I really can't.
Lerone, last time out, it was without doubt a career best performance. I know you live in the gym, you can see there, you're an athlete, but how hard has it been mentally? You know, for 12 months on to have not been able to build on that career best performance against a world ranked opponent. Have you found it tough?
Well, do you know what? I love boxing, and obviously I'd like to be a lot more active, but I've been enjoying it in the gym, adding to my game.
You feel like a lot of learnings, but I've always felt that a lot of learning gets done when there's no pressure on an opponent. Have you felt like that? You've just improved your all-round game?
All-round game in terms of skill, in terms of my physical aspect with boxing science, with Danny Wilson, with my strength. Yep. I'm in great shape mentally and physically for this fight. I cannot wait.
You're always looking at the positive sense. So you see inactivity as something where you take that gym time as learning. Dave Caldwell, the lads that are in the gym, really vibrant gym. You know, different shapes and sizes obviously in there, but is that something that you've done? You've got to focus like that, I suppose, have you?
Well, you know, I could have looked at it in another way and said, oh, I got frustrated and been like, oh, look, I'm not fighting. But you can only control the controllables. And I done that. And that was me staying in the gym and learning and getting stronger and getting smarter. And I'm very happy right now.
Lerone, I know you're too professional to look past a tough opponent like Zach Chelli, but you come through on Sunday. What do you want from 2023 and what do you hope to have?
Well, when you win, you get success, doors open. I want the big names. I've been calling for the big names. So John Ryder, Joseph Parker, the winner of that, Belanga, Caleb Plant, Benavidez, Canelo. I want them all. Let's go.
Yeah. You are, in some ways, though, politics has got in the way with your own career, hasn't it? I mean, do you ever harbour any ill feeling about the way it's gone for you in terms of, you're mentioning names there that politics might stop you getting those fights that you feel you deserve?
Well, we'll see. If I went and I spoke to you about how my career's gone and what I've had to go through, you wouldn't think I'd be here now. But I've stayed positive, I stayed dedicated, and hopefully it all happens.
Just away from your fight on Sunday, you mentioned two names there in Zach Parker, John Ryder. You'll happily step in to fight the winner. Who do you think the winner's going to be there?
Oh, it's a tough fight. You know, it is a tough fight. And I wouldn't like to call a winner, but I wish them all the best and may the best man win.
Putting that aside, I like the way you got out of that one, but who would suit you better? Is that a better question? Like, who would you rather get in the ring with, if you like?
If I had to pick, I would have picked John Ryder, and I was calling for that fight for a long time. You know, we had that close fight with Callum Smith. He's got that sort of background, you know, and he's the bigger name. But I'd fight any of them, no problem.
So 2023 then, and more active Lerone. You get this one out of the way. All goes your way, that is, obviously.
Yes.
So that's the idea. Get those big names, just be more active and just enjoy the gym time. With fights in the diary as well.
That's right. And even if I don't get the big names, still staying active. That's the plan.
Lerone, it's a pleasure to see you back, mate.
Yes.
Pleasure to see you action on the big stage, and wish you all the best Sunday and all the best for active 2023, which hopefully ends up in that world title.
Thank you, appreciate it.
But before you go, just one final one. I mean, again, Zach mentioned hot cross buns. Are you getting fed up with that now? Or are you got something else on the horizon for you?
Well, you never know. I might do another rendition of the hot cross buns, or I might do a little remix, you know? We'll see.
Remix?
Look forward to that. Nice one. All the best.
Wicked.
Some great thoughts, some great people, some great action to look forward to on a Sunday afternoon, and of course with Ben talking about that brilliant fight, Smith-Eubank,
Yes.
which, again, we thought might be just before Christmas, a little bit of a present, but not to be. But Liam is someone that you know very, very well. And again, just, you know, that from sparring sessions and stuff like that, it just adds a little bit of intrigue to it as well, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And listen, the sparring was a long time ago now, and I believe also Eubank Jr.'s improved since then. And Liam, certainly a lot more wily, a lot more experienced, and he'll argue he's improved as well since then. But if the sparring's anything to go by, if the fight's anything like the sparring, we're in for a right treat.
Right. Need to get your thoughts on what's going to happen this weekend. So before we do, you can give half the game away by giving us your bet. So
do you know what? Honestly, and this is why I think it's such a great weekend for boxing. There's so many 50-50 fights. And this isn't me sitting on the fence, because you know I don't do that.
No, you don't.
But
No.
This isn't even just that, but I think, I'm not necessarily, because I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, my bet's been a bit missed the last few weeks.
Been a bit rubbish, really.
I have been pretty poor. But I think it's hard to look past the value. There's a double with Nathan Gormley.
Yeah, Gorman.
Nathan Gorman and John Ryder, Zach Parker. Again, listen, I could easily see Fabio Wardley and Zach Parker coming up, but with the double at 11-1 in two 50-50 fights like that, where I wouldn't be one bit surprised if Nathan Gorman and John Ryder do it, 11-1.
So that's your bet. As you're keeping it simple, fair enough.
Just keeping it simple.
So that's how you see those two fights going. So you're going Gorman and you're going Ryder.
Yeah, I'm not
those
even necessarily there, but I wouldn't be surprised the other way. But at 11-1, it's got to be worth a little bet.
Yeah. So in terms of Dillian Whyte, Jermaine Franklin, you're not expecting any massive shock there?
No, I expect Dillian Whyte to win well inside the distance. I can't look past that.
And then in terms of, you mentioned obviously the Zach Parker Ryder fight, you've cleared that one up. And then
that's such a tough one to call that. And I think it's for an interim, and with everything that's going on with Canelo, you wouldn't be surprised if they get upgraded to the full world title, and it's worthy of being a world title fight.
And here, of course, Sunday afternoon, Lerone Richards in against Zach Chelly, and it was a nice little bit of needle in there. Nothing wrong with that.
I liked it.
How do you see it?
I think one thing that's guaranteed when Zach Chelly fights, he brings it, and he's going to look to put it all over Lerone. I just believe Lerone's going to be too clever for him, too sharp. He's a great thinker. His boxing IQ is fantastic. Speaking to his coach Dave Caldwell, just how highly he rates him. I remember seeing how good Lerone was years back when he was sparring with Callum Smith. He's a very, very talented fighter, so I can't look past Lerone Richards, most probably on points, because that Chel's a tough man. And then in the main event, I think with Ryan Chelton, what you see is what you get. He brings it, and he's going to look to put it all over Azim, but at the same time, I expect him to walk onto something, and I think it's going to be fireworks. It could be a real shootout for 3 rounds, but I expect Azim to come through it.
And another one I'm going to put you on the spot, and I know you don't want to pick a winner in this because it's two lads that you really like, and Mikel Lowell and obviously Davy Jameson, who's stepping in 10 days' notice. And
you know what? This is me sitting on the fence because I can't there, but it's one of them. David Jameson's super up for it, and we was there the night in the boxer tournament where he was putting it on the wall. And
again, it was a last minute job again, wasn't it?
And this minute he's a lot more fair, so he's super confident. But I also believe Lowell has improved massively since then. So Lowell's rightly going to start a favourite, but Jameson, the proud Scotsman, he's right in that fight, and I can't wait for it. That's on this card. That's for sure my picking.
Well, from these beautiful surroundings, Alexandra Palace, we look forward to all the action here on Sunday afternoon, and a fantastic weekend of boxing all through, everywhere really. There's so much going on in London this weekend. But next week, we're going to be back with the big boys. We've seen a couple of the big boys this week in Dillian Whyte and Jermaine Franklin, but Tyson Fury's the biggest of the big boys. I think it's fair enough to say.
Than the Gypsy King. So we're going to be there.
In against Derek Chisora. Of course, they know each other so well. But I think what we can guarantee is that next week on the Lightweight Boxing Show, there's going to be some fun and games with those two characters.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, watch the YouTube channel. Go on there, subscribe, notifications, watch all Anthony's amazing work as well, and some of the Crolla's Corner and all the rest of it. Thank you very much indeed for watching the Lightweight Boxing Show.